In recent times, the messages coming out of the constant advertising bombardment by businesses, professionals and institutions engaged in the business of debt collections, would probably lead the ordinary consumer to think that a debtor seeking some debt relief is limited basically to only 2 or 3 options, namely, some kind of debt settlement with your creditors, the debt consolidation arrangement, or declaring bankruptcy. Concerning using the bankruptcy option, providers of debt relief and debt settlement and loan consolidation services, as well as banks and credit companies, constantly warn consumers on radio, TV and internet advertisements not to file bankruptcy, often generally portraying it as a negative step, thus largely discouraging many Americans who are anxiously looking for a practical way out of debt, perhaps even a cost-free way of doing so, from filing for bankruptcy and causing them to see it in negative terms. At the same time, though, these consumers are offered the other traditional programs of debt relief not only as the better alternative to bankruptcy, but as the only programs that are available for debt relief by consumers. In point of fact, however, there are other options. Most particularly, there is one unique, little-used debt relief program that is actually better than those commonly promoted. This article explores those other options. Bankruptcy, debt consolidation and settlement are not the only sources for relief that are available to a debtor. In point of fact, however, there are other options that are hardly ever mentioned by debt relief businesses, but which are by far better options for consumers. Indeed, one recent major extensive online investigation undertaken by an independent, New York-based online review organization, see the link provided at the end of this article, reveals that there is actually one major option that is perhaps the best debt relief program for getting out of debt by consumers which they can use, an option that is left completely unmentioned and out of any recognition whatsoever in any discussions of that subject, namely, the method we shall call the Unique Debt Elimination or Reduction Technique. This debt relief method is a technique by which a debtor could get out of debt free without fee, and without filing bankruptcy, without settlement, and without consolidation. The technique, the subject of a recent full-scale and thorough formal investigation and review duly undertaken by a debt relief review organization, earned the review organization's highest rating as the absolute best of its kind in the field of debt relief tools, a 10. According to the reviewer's extensive evaluation, the technique, when applied by users, is found to be widely effective with many a consumer who uses the program for debt reduction and negotiations, only providing, though, that the users actually stick with the program and follow the laid down prescriptions of the program, from the beginning to its end. It found that it works with most debtors, but most particularly in negotiating credit card debts, and, just as importantly, if you do stick with the complete program that's laid down for you and don't just look for quickie fixes. 3 out of the 4 persons in the review team who had personally applied the program's recommendations in managing their debt, reported astronomical positive reduction in their credit card debt with their credit card companies, and one of them experienced that same thing with their auto loan lender, as well. The 4th one reported he had actually failed to follow through in many of the important procedures set forth for the program. From interviews with, and reviews of testimonials of, several randomly selected persons who had bought and used this program, the organization's reviewers noted overwhelming positive feedback from such persons, and general customer satisfaction. They report that the program actually yields positive results on a regular basis with creditors in negotiating more favorable repayment terms and substantially reducing or even totally eliminating debts. On the website of the program creator, Several testimonials displayed there are confirmed to be credible and authentic. Several include photos, full names and location information, clearly lending additional credence to those testimonials. Savings in forgiven or reduced debts reported by users from using the system ranged from nearly $22,000 to $50,000. Indeed, of the thousands of persons who have previously used this program, the reviewers are yet to find even one prior user to date who has something negative to say about the Debt Cure program, nor to contend that the program does not actually work. Technique earns wide praise and high marks among the elite of Americans' financial mainstream media, though it's ignored by the debt relief industry aside from the fact that this unique debt reduction and debt elimination technique has been thoroughly examined and shown by reputable, independent evaluators to be a highly effective method, and that many credible debtors, as well, who've used it, have so attested universally. Many trusted national financial media review organs, as well, have universally praised and been impressed by the technique as highly effective. Indeed, included in this group, have included an impressive array of the elite of the American financial media who reviewed them, ranging from the Wall Street Journal, the Usatoni, and the Kaipalangar, to the Money magazine, the Bottom Line, and the Dollars and AMP Cents, among many others. It is a system of becoming debt-free without fee, debt relief without bankruptcy, without debt settlement or consolidation. Finally, help has arrived for the person looking to get themselves out of debt, wrote the Wall Street Journal, probably America's number one elite and most trusted financial publication. Of this tool, timely information that is easy to understand, and more importantly, easy to put into practice. A must-have information for anyone who wants to get rid of their debt once and for all, said the Reader's Digest of it. The Bottom Line magazine picked the How to Get Rid of Debt embodied in this guide as the recommended top of the list of the 12 best books it reviewed on the subject, adding that, after reading and putting to the test over 12 of the top books on the subject of getting out of debt, our recommendation is the ultimate guide. Investigators from the New York-based online review organization concluded that, deriving directly from the massive amount of objective facts and evidence we saw and reviewed in the field, the Unique Debt Reduction and Elimination Program of Debt Relief is the proven, credible, unique, number one debt cure program of its kind. Adding that this product and technique are a legitimate, reliable debt relief option that you can trust and rely on as an online buyer or shopper, and that, using this unique technique of debt relief, you'd be able to get out of your debt, quite alright, if you just follow the prescribed rules and procedures outlined in it. But you'll be able to accomplish that without bankruptcy or the possible, long-term negative effects of bankruptcy, and without signing up for any long-term debt repayment plan like debt settlement or debt consolidation, and without paying any fees to a bankruptcy lawyer or to any operators of debt settlement or debt consolidation company, as well as without having to pay much to your creditors on the debt you owe. Thus, it's a program of getting debt-free without fee. Why is this newer, non-traditional tool for debt relief never mentioned? In short, what we have here is a method of debt elimination and debt solution that most debtors can't just as effectively use today to get rid of debt. And, above all, aside from the effectiveness of this tool, it is the tool that is best for the debtor and personally most beneficial to him. It involves no bankruptcy for the exorbitant legal costs which it carries, no debt settlement and no debt consolidation, or the considerable costs associated with them. And, for the debtor using this method of getting out of debt, It is system of getting debt relief free with virtually zero direct out-of-pocket extra expense that they'll have to pay to use this tool, and no payment whatsoever that they'd have to make to their creditors using this method. The curious question is, why then? Why? Here is this seventh option for the unique technique of debt relief, which by all accounts is as effective as, and apparently superior to, almost all the other existing techniques for getting out of debt in the debt relief marketplace today, never mentioned or heard of. The method that is far less expensive for the debtor to use, but which bestows all these special financial and other benefits to the debtor using to try getting out of debt, including being debt-free without bankruptcy, without debt settlement or consolidation for the associated costs, and without having to enter into agreements for long-term payments to creditors, etc. And here is an option or method that is almost universally endorsed and confirmed by various independent and trusted reviewers as being effective and workable in getting one out of debt. The acclaimed author and creator of this novel seventh option method of debt relief has a ready answer for that. Because every lawyer, debt consolidation company, debt counselor and financial consultant has a vested interest in what action you the consumer ultimately decide to take, he states. They only make money if they can convince you to hire them. To make matters worse, they will pretty much say, do, or promise anything to make you one of their clients, even if it means outright lying to your face. He argues that the people in the debt relief industry can't afford to have, for example, a system that entails debt relief without bankruptcy, or a system for a debtor to get out of debt free, simply because that will mean that they don't get paid. He adds, it's really a no-win situation for the little guy, and for you to succeed, you must realize that the deck is stacked in their favor, not yours, because you are the one with the debt problem, not them. For information on this new investigation and the unique seventh option technique of debt reduction or elimination for becoming free debt-free, please visit http://www.honestdebtreliefreviews.org/uniquedebtcure.html